Welcome to my journey through the Bible. This will be applications you can apply to your life and a little more in depth about the chapter. We are in Leviticus 18:1 through 30. Now, I understand that this is a hard one to swallow. It hits home for some people. And God tells us that you do not have sex with your relatives. This is a gimme. And God even lists who all your relatives are, so there is no misunderstanding as to who He is talking about. Now, when we have sex with our relatives, many times this will cause deformities in babies. This will destroy families. And this is an immoral problem. God tells us if we can't respect our immediate family, how are we going to respect God? How are we going to respect others and even ourselves? Now, God says it's an abomination for a man to have sex with a man and a woman to have sex with a woman. And the reason behind this is God told men and women to be fruitful and multiply the earth. Now, if you have sex with somebody that is the same sex as you are not going to be fruitful. You're not going to multiply the earth. Plus, this is going to add confusion as to who you really are. And did God make a mistake in your birth? No, God does not make mistakes. God created you to be the sex that you are supposed to be. Now, society sometimes tries to change our beliefs. They try to say this is acceptable and this part is not acceptable. And society is always changing as to what is right and wrong and what you're going to do or not do. But when you read the Bible is very clear about everything that you're ever going to face in life. It is in the Bible. You can read it. And when you read the Bible from beginning to the end, God is very clear that sex is to be between a man and a woman only. We also see that God says, do not have sex with beasts. That means do not have sex with any kind of animals. And God wrote this because people had issues with this back in Bible time. The other nations was having these same issues, these same problems. They would have sex with one another. They would have sex with animals. It did not matter to them. And even in today's society, you still have people that are doing these same things. They're facing these same traditions or routines or whatever it is. We have these urges and we have these lusts, and I get that. And that is why God made sex to be between a man and a woman, so that those lusts and urges could be satisfied. But when we mistreat them, when we say that this is acceptable, that puts us down a very slippery slope into the hands of the devil. And we know that Satan is always going to twist the words that God says. And if God tells us not to do something, Satan's going to say it's okay to do it. If God says it's okay to do this, Satan's probably going to say do not do that, because he's always contradicting God. Now, the other thing is the confusion of all of it. When you have sex with anybody and any creatures, you get confused. You're confused as to what the meaning is. You're confused as to why your desires are not necessarily being met, because you're chasing all these wrong things. And we are not to judge. That part is true, but we are to know people by the fruits of their spirit, meaning we can look at things and see if that is ungodly or unholy, and then we would be very wise to stay away from those things. Now, if you have been guilty of any one of these things, or you're guilty of sin in general, we're always guilty of sin. We make all kinds of mistakes, but God is merciful and He is forgiving. So we have to realize that if we have had sex with a relative, with somebody of the same sex, if we've had sex with a beast of any kind, that we realize that it is wrong. We come to God and say, ask for forgiveness. We repent. We stay away from those things. We stay away from those temptations. And then, of course, we try to change our ways, and we go down a different path. Now, we are to love the sinner but hate the sin. Meaning, even if you're guilty of any of this stuff, God will always forgive you. God is very merciful. He says that it doesn't matter what we do, what we have done, and what we are going to do in the future. God is still there to give us forgiveness. God says, come into His loving arms. He cares about you and your future. May God be with you in everything and in every way.